My hair journey has taken on a new little twist. Hey, this is Tracy with Tracy Talks. Welcome. I've been meaning to do an episode about my hair journey. And what I thought was just going to be an episode about midlife, where I'm at, convenience. There's been some unexpected qualities. There's been some feelings and emotions that have come up recently that I was not expecting. I've been coloring or highlighting my hair for the last 25 years. And it really started when I noticed a gray hair. And I'm not surprised. I was never surprised that I had gray hair. I remember my mom always being gray. She was just one of those people that grayed very early. And there was a lot of it. It wasn't just a couple of hairs. And so when those first gray hairs came in, there was this feeling of like, this can't be happening. I cannot have a gray hair. I'm not that old. And I was unprepared for this ticking clock feeling to become louder in me. Instead of me dealing with those feelings of aging and mortality and moving into a different phase of life, instead of like addressing those feelings that I was having, I didn't want to do that. So I colored my hair. And if I color my hair, I can't see the gray, and then I don't have to face these feelings that I'm having. And this process of wanting to be youthful and wanting to be this specific image is a belief that feels like to me that it's reinforced everywhere, that we want to be as young and perceived beauty. We want to fit into some beauty standard. And it was just a process that was easy. Like, I'll just start coloring my hair. I won't have to think about these feelings that I'm having. I won't have to address them. And I'll go on with my life. And it was a process that was easy at first to maintain. It was easy for me to go into the salon. It was easy for me to want to color my hair. It was easy. And the last few years, it's been harder for me to keep this up, whatever this is. And this isn't some standard that somebody else put on me. This is my own standard now. And it was getting harder, and it was becoming more of a struggle within me. And I've moved, and I've had to find new hairstylists, and I've had all of these obstacles that seemed to make this journey even harder because, I'm going to be honest, it's really hard to find a stylist that you love, that you connect with. It's hard for me to find somebody that I trust. And not having somebody that I felt like really knew me and my hair and what to do was adding this layer of difficulty, which meant that it was making me not want to go through this whole process. And then the time and the expense and just all of these other little fringe things that add up as well. Like, I sit in the chair for 3 hours. If I want to do a full color and a cut, 3 hours is a long time to sit in the chair. And then the frequency. I really need to go every 3 weeks if I'm going to color my hair. So 3 hours every 3 weeks, add on the expense there. It just was feeling like it was this unrealistic expectation that I could continue to maintain. About 6 months ago, I had decided that I had reached a point where I need to figure this out. This is consuming too much of my mental capacity. Like, again, this awareness that I have only so much time in the day. And what am I thinking about? What is consuming my thoughts? What is consuming my time? Because my hair was always one of these things that was running in the background. It was one of those things that was always on kind of an alert system. Like, I know the time is ticking here. I've got to figure this out. If I have something, if I have a social engagement that I want to go to, then I've got to color my hair and color my roots. And so it's always this background noise that's playing. And I was tired of that. And so I knew I was going to start this process. But what has also expedited this was, again, I moved. I moved to a rural area with well water. And so the well water has a high mineral content, which is changing my damaged hair. All of this hair that's been colored and stripped is absorbing these high mineral contents. And so I go to the salon, I'm like, it looks orange. And she's like, well, it looks bronze. Well, you can, get all tied up in semantics here, but it looks orange and I don't like it. So this other unknown character of me moving and me living in this place has also impacted this ridiculous hair journey. And I couldn't fight it anymore. Any color that I put on there is damaging my hair, and then that damaged hair is absorbing all of these minerals, and it looks orange, and I don't like it. So 6 months ago, I had a lot cut off. I'd also decided that I was going to transition to a natural color just to see what was underneath. I don't know what's under there. Like, I've been coloring it for so long. I don't know what my natural color is. I don't know how much gray I have. I know I have a lot, but I don't know. And I want to see. I want to see what I have underneath, hidden, that I've been doing a really good job of hiding. And I'm tired of hiding. And so I had a stylist who was trying to strip away some of my color so that the gray would blend a little bit easier. But again, that just damaged my hair even more, and it just was absorbing the minerals. So I decided to get a lot of it cut off. And it's always great, you can go out there on these social media sites and you can Google, pixie hairstyles and short haircuts and all of this. And there's tutorials, there's women are showing you how to do things with your hair. And it's really frustrating too, because I was finding so many images on Pinterest were AI. Well, that's not real life. Like, you can create a perfect hairstyle, but real hair doesn't look like that. Is not easily achieved like that. And so then I found myself having to search non-AI generated hairstyles. Give me real women. For God's sakes, if I'm trying to create something in the real world, I need a real person. And so I decided to get it all cut off. And I had a couple pictures. And it didn't go like I planned, and it doesn't look like I had wanted. But it's a process. And so I came home last night, and I have a lot of tools myself. I've always trimmed my hair and changed things up, especially when I had bangs. I was known for just cutting my bangs. And the goal mainly with getting all of my hair cut off was to get rid of this ridiculous orange color. And I wanted a cute, fun, flirty hairstyle. Well, I didn't get either one of those. Well, I didn't get fun or flirty. And I got something more like somebody cut my hair off with really dull scissors. But which just adds this almost humorous element to this whole journey. My hair is so absolutely thick that, and when I look back at these images and these pictures of these women, I have this one creator that I started following on Instagram, and I mean, she's got really thin, fine hair. So anything that I try to do with my own hair is not going to look like hers because I have probably 4 times as much hair as she does. And my hair kind of went into shock. Like, it hasn't been this short since 8th grade. And so it is like, what is happening? And it's just looks, it's freaking out. My hair is lost its mind. But so when I came home last night, and I knew it wasn't what I had pictured in my head. It wasn't the cute, fun, flirty that I'd wanted and I had hoped for. Probably more with the stylist than my hair, but I'm not going to go into that right now. Because she tried, but I have really thick hair. But there wasn't this feeling of real sadness last night. It was more of my head felt different. I felt very different in a way I had not anticipated. I felt like there was a weight off of me, which I was not expecting at all. That something had lifted off of me, and it was an odd feeling. Because again, I had my hair short up until about the age of 15. And then from that point, I started this process of growing it out and growing it longer. And it's always been at least shoulder length. And so now that, I mean, it was just this feeling of, I don't know, freedom. And when I think about beauty standards, there's times where I get frustrated and like, who's putting these beauty standards on us, and why are we doing the things that we're doing? And even though there was always sometimes a sense of obligation, like I have to do this to be perceived as pretty and beautiful, I was still doing it. I was still playing the game. And then what happens when I no longer play the game? And if I'm in an area where no one has any expectation of what I'm supposed to look like if I traveled today, nobody would be shocked or have any comments. They would just assume that this is how I always show up in the world. And as someone that sometimes I really feel like, I'm doing these things and they're always for me, and I'm always the one that's creating my beauty standards, and I have this healthy perception of self, and I have, all of these things worked out. And then yesterday kind of took me a minute to realize maybe I don't have all of these things worked out, and maybe I have still been doing things because it's perceived prettier to have long hair. It's perceived that you're more feminine, and the femininity is equated to beauty, and we need to be beautiful to get a man, and all of these standards that are just so ingrained and woven into everything. And maybe this was a step in the right direction of this place where I just have to do things for me. And that there's times when I'm still on autopilot and I don't realize it. I don't realize that something that was said to me when I was 12 is still influencing me. And what does that freedom really look like? And that independence really look like? And all of these things. And I know I have the right to change my mind. And ultimately, I just wanted more freedom. Freedom from all of these things that I've just been doing. Just because. And I mean, who knew the whole water situation was going to propel this internal journey and dialogue even faster than I had thought? Like, if my hair hadn't been orange, I probably would not have started this. Or I maybe still would have continued to have this conversation be on the fence of like, should I not, should I? But with the orange hair, it's like, I can't do this anymore. And my natural hair isn't orange. It's not absorbing all of this. And how interesting is that? And frankly, I really don't look forward to going out in public in my area right now because I don't want to deal with people's reactions. Ultimately, they're not going to be positive. Ultimately, there's going to be looks and like, what are you doing? And why are you doing that? And I think that that's how I got into this trap of coloring my hair in the first place, was to fit into some image that supposedly somebody else wanted me to look like. Beauty really is this individual expression. And some ladies really want to be this traditional, beautiful person that fits into the norms of society. And then there's some of us that play the game pretty well. And I know I've just gotten tired of playing the game. And this journey isn't over by far because I haven't completely landed where I want to be. And it's going to take a few more months, apparently, for these changes to be concrete. But it's a start. And I don't know. I've never really been one of these people that have just had one hairstyle and wanted to stay that way the rest of my life, because there are people like that. You know, you've seen them, you went to high school with them, and their hair was always the same. It was always shaped the same and cut the exact same. I mean, it looked like it never grew. It looked like it never changed colors. And they have just been able to maintain that one hairstyle their whole life. That has never been me. And this is just another part of my evolution. It kind of looks ridiculous right now, but that's okay. It'll grow back. It can always grow back. It'll be fine. Thank you for listening to this episode of Tracy Talks. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and share with others who would enjoy listening to this podcast. Friends can find Tracy Talks available on iTunes, Spotify, Substack, and YouTube. Hit me up on Instagram and Facebook at More Tracy Talks. And until next time, we meet again.